Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome back to Miguel and Holly Uncensored Live after a week off. And I know that there are some of you in the Platypus Posse that were like, how dare you? Because I know when one of my podcasts takes time off and it's in your schedule, you're like, wait, so what do I listen to now?
What am I supposed to do?
What do I do? So we are back after a week off, but make sure to check out our other podcasts. Like Miguel and Holly Full Show, Miguel and Holly Blown Off, Miguel and Holly Queen City Confessions. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just type in Miguel and Holly and it'll pop up. And then here pretty shortly, we are going to start in the Full Show podcast feed. We're going to also separate all the individual segments throughout the morning.
That's
so you'll
awesome.
be able to not only listen if you like to sit down and listen to the full show, in that hour and 7 minutes it normally is. But maybe you're like, I really just like to hear the check-in or that time that they did the Zillow porn. Then you'll be able to get all of those segments every day along with the full show. So that'll be coming in the next few days. So after a week off, Holly, let's start with you because you were off the entire week. What happened?
Oh, man. Well, it was. And thank you for being okay with all of that. I had the guilt, like I really did. I really did. But it was actually very needed, I realized. Very needed. And it felt like a good old vacation. Like it really felt like it was a whole week because like the weekend was Easter and that's its own whole thing. And then I took Maya to Universal and SeaWorld in Orlando, and that was a whole thing. And then over like Thursday, then she went to a friend's house all day Thursday. Then she was at her dad's house Friday, Saturday. And so it was like a lot of different broken up things. And then I got to have my own like a couple days of Maya was at her dad's house. So I had like just nothing to do and irresponsibility ensued. So it was really good for me to be off, I think. So thank you. I needed it.
Kelbin, how was your time off?
Good.
It was good. I can't remember what I did Thursday. I'm not going to lie to you. But Friday was the RuPaul's Drag Race finale night. Had that very awkward solo trip out to the club to go watch it.
Yeah, if you missed that, if you don't listen to the live show, you should go listen to Monday, April 17th full show podcast to the check-in. There was a whole segment we did about you and your solo night out and how that went.
Yeah. And then Saturday, I did a lot of things, actually. I kind of hopped around Charlotte, and I went to Camp North End for the first time. I went to NODA for a little bit to go to that Crown Town cannabis shop. And then
real quick, what is Camp North End? Like, I've driven past it and I've seen
I know
events.
they have movie nights. They have like 90s movie nights all the time at Camp North End.
I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it does kind of look like a camp, but there's also a lot of mini shops all around. So we saw a plant shop. We saw a few restaurants there too. There's open seating everywhere. It's a very opened area. And we went to check out something on Axios Charlotte. It's kind of like a vintage shop that was going on, and it was really cute. We bought a super expensive candle that was not vintage. But it looks very aesthetic and cute. And what else? And then we went to NODA. Then we went to an international grocery store that I'll probably talk about in the check-in tomorrow. It was so good, and there's so many things that we bought that we're obsessed with. So that's probably going to be our new grocery store.
So does it give you like Miami vibes of like things that you could get there?
They do have a full Hispanic section, which is really cool. I got to introduce queso frito, which is fried cheese, to my one of my friends that we've made here. And so he loved it. And that was pretty much it. Sunday was drag brunch, and we had a really good time. And that was my weekend.
I love it. Now, Holly, I'm curious for your spring break, when it came to being, because you were nervous about being just with Maya. And like we talked about it on the show this morning about, your nervousness around it. But like kind of walk us through like what happened when you all were at Universal, you and your 9-year-old just by yourselves.
Yeah.
Was it hot?
I was no, it was actually I think I'm actually glad that it wasn't hot because that can be miserable.
Yes.
But it ended up being like low 70s, which is can be it was breezy, and then it rained on and off when we were at Universal. So luckily though, I had gotten ponchos at the Walgreens the night before, and there was some poor man and his family as Maya and I are pulling out the ponchos, and he's like, "Where did you get those?" And I'm like, "Oh, sir, we bought these at the Walgreens last night." And he was like, "Do they sell them here?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're probably $15 though,
Right.
and these ones were $2."
Like
It's a sheet of plastic.
$39.99.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we did have ponchos, so that was good. But it was a great time. It's just that I get nervous, like I'm gonna have to do all the things and I'm not gonna do them well. Like I have a really hard time letting go and having fun when I'm also supposed to be mom. Because if I'm being mom and then I get into like, oh, we're having fun, and then I try to snap back into being mom, she's not buying it. She's like, we were just having fun, and now you're giving me rules. And so it's like I have to be one or the other. It's very weird for me. I don't know. I get a lot of like I actually had to take a Xanax one of the days.
No.
Which I didn't love because
Right.
now that I'm not in, like, I got the Xanax for another reason last year where I was like nearly hyperventilating with panic stuff. And that it helped then. I was like, holy moly, Xanax does a great job of helping in like emergency situations. And I brought it with me just in case. And I'm like, I can't use this anymore. Like, I'm just gonna have to stow it on a shelf somewhere. So I took like half of a one, and then I was okay. But then I was like, just kind of like,
Just like, hey,
I'm a little drowsy.
Hey.
Lay down. But
Mama's
anyway,
a little sleepy.
right. I get nervous, like I'm not gonna be able to. It's very I can't explain it. I think I did an okay job explaining it on the air today, where it's just like I feel like I have to be the perfect parent in terms of parenting, and I also have to be perfect in the terms of making sure she has a good kid experience and doesn't end up hating her childhood. Like, I'm trying to do all the things all at once, and I don't know how other people do it, but, like, I'm trying to do it the best. For who, by the way?
Right.
Her, but also, like, I figured out how, I think I got there, which is because my mom moved in with me before she was born and then was just hovering all the time. And so I was, like, never alone to, like, b form a bond and, like, learn that I can do it on my own. And I think it's all deeply psychological, and I realized I gotta work on that in therapy. So at least I have something to take. I think I have therapy this week, to it, and I end up just feeling bad. Like, I end up just feeling like I have failed on all fronts, and talking about it now, I'm even getting a little bit, like, about it. I just don't want her to have a bad time because I'm, like, a bad mom, or I'm not making it fun enough, or I don't know. That's the shitty part about anxiety is that, like, I can't clearly not rational.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, me trying to explain it sounds like word salad right now. Like, it doesn't really make sense, but it does in my head. So I'm having trouble bridging the gap between logically, I know I'm a good parent. I can keep her safe. I know what's best for her. Like, I actually, when I logically think about it, like right brain think about it, I think that's the right one. When I think about it like that, I'm like, like, I'm doing great at parenting. Like, I know all the things. I read all the books and I learn about all of the, you know, I follow TikTok accounts and I'm on Instagram and I follow all of these psychologists and I know how to be a good parent and I'm doing it. I'm doing a great parenting job. Then there's like left brain emotional side that's like, you have fucked this all up. You're continuing to fuck it up. And it's like the two of those are not integrated so that the logical side can like help the emotional side calm down. So I got to work on that.
Do you think it's obviously rooted from your childhood, correct?
I think so, yeah. It's like childhood and then skip ahead. Like there was a middle part of my life where I didn't have this like mother anxiety. I think it's a combination of having a kid myself, but also having my mom come back into my life at that time to really like settle in. And I think I mentioned this on this podcast, or maybe it was on the air. I don't know. But my person and I had a conversation where we realized, this was recent, where we realized like it was never really about me. My mom, when my stepdad died, that was the same year that I got pregnant. So it's almost like her life had lost all meaning because her only thing in life was taking care of people. And so
Mhm.
when that happened, she immediately was like, I need this, and like latched onto me and my daughter as like her new life's purpose.
Mm.
But that actually drained me, like mentally and emotionally drained me, because then it became very clear after she had like a lot of health issues that I was now the caretaker, but she was all still insistent on like telling me how to do life.
Right.
Like I remember this, and I hate that I do this now. Every time I was getting laundry out of the dryer yesterday, and I usually think about my mom being in the dryer when my person had moved in, and she was starting to feel like her role was diminishing, which by the way it should.
Right.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And like she had been getting a load of laundry out and was cleaning out the vent, like the lint vent. And he's in the back, and I'm over there, and she's like, maybe he didn't clean it like after one load or something. And she's like, did you? And this is how she was. She'd be like, oh my goodness, did you know that you have to clean this out every time? You do. Did you know? And he's like, Margaret, I know.
I know.
Maybe I just didn't do that the one time.
Right.
She's like, oh, well, you really need to do it every time. I'll do it this one time, but you need to really make sure you do it. And I'm like, it's stuff like that. And it wasn't, she didn't say it meanly.
Right.
She didn't say it like reprimanding. It was like a suggestion, but not. It was
that
like
passive aggressive. Like, you know that in her mind, she's like, you dumb bitch. How dare you not know that you need to clean out this lint here?
Right.
But she's trying to do it in that
in like the nicest way where it's like doesn't seem like it's a suggestion, but she's like, did you know that you really do need to do that? And I'm like, Ma, oh my God. She was a great mother, but it was like that sort of thing that happened all throughout my like, for the entire time that Maya has been born. That style of like, this is what you should do, or like little glances or whatever. And so it basically, I think it eroded my confidence in myself away as a parent myself, especially because she really set it up to be like she was the parent, and like she was the one that was needed, and we needed to go to her to figure it out. And then once the health stuff happened, that was a whole other trauma. But like, I think it really did some damage to my own confidence as a parent, even though I can tell that logically I'm doing a great job, especially based on like when I see I do sometimes judge.
Wow.
Other parenting.
Parent judgment alert.
Well, we all do it. But I like when I see sometimes when I'm like, I see other things and I'm like, oh my goodness, I definitely don't do that. So at least I'm like, whew, like, okay, I'm doing okay.
Right.
Or whatever. So I know I'm doing okay. I just an internal confidence thing.
Zinda said, I understand so that our kids can look back and say I had a good childhood. I struggle with this being the only parent. So I feel for you, Holly.
Yeah.
No.
It's tough.
But I wonder too, as a non-parent, but as a person who grew up with a single parent, between my mom and my grandmother, that like the fact that you're doing all these things, that it's okay for you to not have to entertain your child. Because I mean, there's gonna come a time where like Maya or, Zinda, your kids, they're gonna have to learn how to like entertain themselves. They're gonna have to learn how to fend for themselves. And if you're always the mom, the provider, and the entertainer, like that's what they're looking for. And so they're always expecting, because a lot of times, psychologists say that, you are seeking out attributes from your parents and your spouses. And so that's where you get into that mistake of, I want you to be my end all be all. You're looking for that person to be everything when not everybody, it's not possible for not one single human being on this planet can be anyone's everything and end all be all. That there's going to have to be some times where you have to fend for yourself, that maybe if you keep that in the back of your mind in a situation like vacation, where you can just be like, all right, like I've worked to get us these opportunities to go that a lot of kids don't get the chance to go. And we are here full of a multi-billion-dollar complex of things that's going to occupy you. I'm here to supervise and make sure you're okay. My job is done. I'm not here to also dress up like Captain America and dance around in between rides to make sure you're entertained.
And her thing was like, she really wanted to go in the pool. Like, she had brought 2 bathing suits. I don't have a bathing suit. I got to get a new one. And she was like pushing me. We got to get you a bathing suit, Mom. We have to go in the pool. Now, I do like a pool, but not with kids.
No.
Like, I don't. I am not. Well, that's what one of the things that I had looked forward to when I did marry my ex-husband. I was like, ugh, he can take all of that. Like, that's not mom. Anyway, that's not this mom. Like, that can be a dad thing. Like, dad can go in the pool with the kids. Like, I just feel like sometimes you got to split up responsibilities like that. And I always thought, and I still to this day think that my ex-husband is a great pool dad. Like, that type of, well, you're gonna be in the pool, or you're gonna throw you in the pool, whatever. Just like, I don't want to have to get my hair wet.
Right.
Okay. Like, I'm not the pool mom. And I've struggled because she always gets really disappointed. But I'm like, thankfully, my person is a pool person. So he'll be in the pool with the girls. But then they're always like, Mom, are you coming in? And I'm like, I kind of want to sit.
Yeah, I don't want to play.
So, and it was chilly in Orlando. So I was like, thank God. I was like, we're not, oh, I'm so sorry. No time. We got no bathing suit. It's cold. No pool.
Moms are like this, man. I remember as a kid too. I would be like, Mom, come in, please. And she would never.
I know. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just, let us not be like, we can do everything else. Can I not get in the pool? Like, I don't want to get my hair wet. I might have to do it again. No.
Well, it's too much when you do a pool day. I mean, there is a whole rigmarole that you got to do to get out and to chlorify yourself from everything and then deal with your hair, and it's the middle of the day, and so then you're like, I take another shower just to do all that stuff. You're like,
how many showers am I supposed to be taking in a day? And I'm like, I just know I don't want to get my hair wet, and I also don't want to play like the pool games.
Oh, Marco Polo.
Yes.
I will sometimes I will do the Marco Polo because I'm not getting too splashed, and so I'll just bob around and I'll be like, Marco, and then the polo. And then the fun Marco Polo that we did is we just started coming up with our own words where we'll be like, taco salad. And except my person's daughter, who for some reason is so still obsessed with like potty humor.
Oh.
So she'll be like, poo poo. And we'll be like, we'll have to be like, pee pee. And I cannot wait to remind her of that when she gets to be a teenager. I'll be like, you were unnaturally obsessed with bathroom humor for a very long time.
Poo poo, pee pee.
Like, so anyway, I will do the poo poo pee pee, whatever.
Save
Taco salad, whatever.
Save
Pool
that.
game.
Zinda also said, yes, they need to be able to do for themselves and even to self-soothe. It's so hard to let it happen when you put so much pressure on yourself. For me, it does come from a not so happy childhood. So I try to make sure my daughter has mine.
Yeah.
It's better than mine.
There's a lot of factors at play. Not a lot, but there's a few in your situation, Holly. And I think you are just trying to balance each and every one. I think I'm not an expert, but from what I hear from all your stories and when I'm listening, it's almost like you don't want sort of like Maya to have a resentment towards you that you kind of had towards your mom. I feel like you have that pressure.
Super that.
You know?
Super that. And like, it feels like, well, no matter what I do, she's gonna have it. So that, but like, if I can just make it so she does.
But she will, and it'll be upsetting. But then here's the great thing about the circle of life is that she will then learn to appreciate everything that you did to try to give her the best time. Because once you get to a certain age and you start to see your parents as humans. And I remember for me, when I realized that my mom and my grandmother and even my uncles and aunts and everything, that like they only could do what they had tools to do. And so it sort of it pulled back layers of bitterness. And, you know, especially because I grew up in such a like the haves and have nots, where I went to this rich middle school and high school. And I was like, well, why can't I have a car? And why can't I have the new clothes? And why do I have to work when everybody else gets to go on these fancy vacations in the summertime? And then as I got older, and I'm like, I was happy that I got to eat, like I was fed, like, you know, I had a house over my head. Like, no, we didn't go to Panama City Beach on spring break or go to Aspen to go skiing, but like, my mother and my grandmother did the best they could and supported me in other ways that they couldn't financially. And once I sort of wrapped my head around that, I was like, wow, like, so yeah, my parents had rich, or my friends had rich parents, but like their parents didn't support them in whatever they wanted to do. And they weren't
Right.
their biggest cheerleaders. They were just like, let's throw some money at the problem.
Right.
And that's sometimes partly, that can happen when parents are emotionally disconnected, but, they do have like the means to go on vacations or whatever, where it's, and like people, like children don't realize this. Cause like my kid looks at people and they're like, so-and-so is going to Italy this summer. And I'm like, if I ever had the chance to go to Italy, it would not be with you on your phone. It would be mama going to Italy. So like, I'm like, that's great. But these parents sometimes, now I'm not saying that this is hypothetical anyway.
Right.
But like sometimes parents will just be like, okay, I'm going to show up at your thing. I'm going to pay for the money to do this. But is this parent emotionally invested and like doing all they can to like really connect with the kid? It's all like that. So I know it's not like I'm over here, feeling like a mess. Like I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on roughly.
Mhm.
I just need to work on it and get it out.
Mm.
But overall, like once we got back, I just really collapsed into like a pile of like, just unwind. And I really do think that Maya had a great time. I really do. It was very special. I think that it was some core memory making. And then, she went to her dad's house and we shopped around, and my person and I got some stuff for the bathroom that we were remodeling. I see that I think it was Jason
No.
was like, how's the light fixture? Like I think I'm going to do it today. Like
Yeah.
I decided to throw caution to the wind. I think I'm going to do it by myself.
Oh, you're gonna put up a light fixture.
I'm going to dabble in electricity.
So just so you know,
Yes, catch
Abe,
people up.
my husband, is still there.
Yeah.
In the
No, I
area.
don't ask him.
So
No, because
I
no.
think
he
it
doesn't
would be
got
a really good
lot.
idea
He
for
doesn't
you
got a lot
to
going
do
on.
it.
He's just
He
doing
does
some
too.
stuff.
He's got
No, I
stuff
think-
to do.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
but
electrical stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, he
doesn't
is there. He is
want to-
working on getting our grass at our house
Yeah.
there, because it's dying. He's
Mhm.
working on that and he's just cleaning up and he's visiting with
Mhm.
I
friends.
think
So
that's
yeah,
the route
yeah,
to go.
yeah, I think he
I
would be
read the
happy to help.
instructions. I
concerns.
read the instructions and it
Mm.
sounds not that bad.
Okay, well, when you are like, I can't push the buttons on the board because I fried my hands.
Yeah, I'll call
just
Abe. By the
at
way,
the hospital.
Maya said that, asked me yesterday. She goes, "Can we go over to Miguel's house?" I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
what?
She's like, "Well, I just want to like go and watch TV over there." I'm like, "Why?"
I mean,
She's like, "Isn't Abe still in town? Can we just go?" I'm like, "No, we can't go." I'm like, "I don't even know if Abe is still in town." She's like, "Well, didn't you go in after the hurricane and just watch TV?" And I was like, "Yes, but that's because we had no power." And she's like, "Well, why does it matter? Is anyone in there? Can we just go?" I'm like, "What is with you?" No, she was just wanting to go to your house.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, listen, y'all are, as long as no one's staying there, y'all are always invited to just go and prop up and watch some TV. Just make sure to turn
Yeah.
everything off.
That's what I told her. I'm like, it's very fancy in there, and I don't want to make a mess. So
Oh.
I don't know if we will be going over there. Thank you. And she was like, "Oh,
Damn.
will you just ask?" Like, okay.
The-
And we've already decided this. We haven't planned for it, but like when she gets out of school, the week she's done with school for the summer, she'll come in for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And she's already like talking about that. She's like, "Well, what are you guys gonna do for Try It Tuesday?" It's gonna be a Tuesday. I go, "How do you know?" She's like, "Try It Tuesday. I can help. I can try it." So did you plan my segment? I'm like, "No, we didn't plan your segment yet."
Oh my God.
Yes.
She's ready to be a star. All right. Well, I will plan something for her on that day outside of Try It Tuesday. We'll have a Maya segment, but she
Yeah.
better be ready to perform because
I
Uncle Miguel don't
know.
play. We got time, okay?
Time is money.
We got to hit them quarter hours, man. So you better go.
Quarter hour.
We got to be in commercials
Be
by
like,
11
wrap
or
it
41.
up,
Wrap it up,
Maya.
Maya. Come on.
About PPM, she'd be like trying to get into it because, like, kids like get that stage fright thing where they're all like gung ho and then it happens and they're like, "I can't do it." I'll be like, say
Be like, no
You'd be
stage
like,
fright here, or
"No
else we're gonna have to pre-record you.
I know. Oh my goodness.
Just
So
be
anyway,
pinching her on her back. Say it right.
Say it.
Good,
Perform.
jeez. So anyway, after all that, I think that's my story.
I love it. So I went back to Tampa this weekend for our little couple days off to go see Taylor Swift, which was just absolutely magical. I was telling some of our coworkers this morning that I wish that Taylor would come to Charlotte, because Taylor Swift coming to your city is unlike any other concert you will experience in your city. We've had the fortune of having that, firsthand when we were doing radio in Tampa a couple of times. But I always say that it's, when someone comes to town and like the next day you'll see like a friend at a concert, you're like, oh my God, I had no clue that Janet Jackson or such and such was here. Like, it is impossible for you not to know that Taylor Swift is coming to your city.
Right.
I mean, and even like on my flight to Charlotte, last Wednesday, there were people going to Tampa that had like old school Taylor Swift stuff on, who you could tell were going to the show. I mean, so it's like the excitement starts to build. It is. It's a huge event. It was a 3-day event. And so we got up Thursday morning. I went to my old barber. Actually there was something there that didn't know if I was going to talk about it on the show or not. Well, I'll give you a little tease for this week, because this might be a topic of like bonehead dads. This guy walked into the barbershop and asked for a haircut for his son. But when they were like, well, how old is your son? You will not believe the age of this kid that he was trying to get a haircut for. That it was the person, this kid is so young that all of the barbers said, we don't feel comfortable. And they turned this person away. I was like, where's the mom? What's happening? We need a parent.
Did the mom okay this?
Like, what's happening? But that's going to be a topic later this week. But it was nice to see my barber. Haven't seen him in a long time. And then we literally drove over from St. Pete to Tampa, parked at a friend's place, and then it was like the day of walking everywhere.
Yeah.
Where we went to this sort of, they called it a tailgate, where they had like all these little pop-ups of the step and repeats with Taylor Swift from the different eras that you could take pictures with. And then they were
Very
having
Instagrammable.
Absolutely. And they had like Taylor Swift sing along. And I got to see, and that's one of the really cool things about going back to Tampa is, we've talked about this here, that in Charlotte, you're still getting to know us, and you're still, if you listen to this podcast, then you are engaged with us. But the majority of the audience, they're still checking us out, and they're not hyper engaged just yet. Whereas in Tampa, we were there for 7 years. And so like, as soon as we get there, I saw like the guy, Matt, who used to run the Free Britney movement that we worked with a lot. So got to see him and meet his mom. And then we had some other people that, as we were standing in line to get drinks, you could start to see people like stare at me a little bit. And then you could see someone like pointing to a phone and looking up. And then they'd be like,
oh, it is Miguel.
And they'd be like, are you Miguel?
I love it. I still get it. By the way, really quick, I got recognized in Home Depot yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, yeah, just doing a project. Anyway, so yeah, it's really great.
It is. It's really sweet. I mean, and even yesterday, Sunday, right before I went to the airport, we went to Cassis in downtown St. Pete, and the general manager walked over, and she was like, hey, just wanted to make sure y'all having a good time and everything. So we're like, yeah, it's great. And she was like, Miguel, I'm so glad that you're back. Here eating. Just want to let you know that you had such an emotional impact on my daughter and I. And I was like, oh my God, let's take a picture. And then like everyone else in the restaurant's like, who is this man that she's taking a picture with? Like, why is this important? I don't understand.
That's the weird juxtaposition of radio fame.
Right. Where it's like the
Who's
people
that?
know, and then the other people that don't are like, who is this random person? Like, what?
Yeah.
Always.
Right. And so that was just a really cool moment. And then going, we did that first tailgate thing. Then we did a tailgate actually like outside the stadium, where they had like a grill and drinks and vodka soaked jelly or gummy worms that they were eating. So I mean, they were like ready to go for Taylor Swift. And so then like when you walk into the stadium, I mean, it's just like you can feel the buzz and just the positive energy of these people that have loved Taylor Swift for so long. and especially the people that have been with her, because somebody at the barbershop earlier when I was like, oh, I'm here for Taylor Swift, they were like, oh, it's going to be you and a bunch of, teen girls. And I'm like, y'all.
Have you seen that's like saying millennials are, their parents are putting millennials mittens on them to get them in the car.
Like people, I think that it's just, you think of Taylor Swift, when Kanye West got on stage and she was in the like, oh, gee, I won phase. And you're like, it's been over 10 years that she's been in the air. So these people have grown up. So these are 20, 30-year-olds that are going to this concert. And now you have people
20, 30, 40.
Yeah, that have now brought their kids with them to Taylor Swift. So it's not just a bunch of teen girls like it was 15 years ago.
I mean, there are still teen girls, by the way, which that is a huge accomplishment. So you've gotten all the teen girls over like a decade and a half of being in this industry and kept them.
Right. And that's and to me, I had this moment as we were at the tailgate, as everyone was talking, and there were like literally helicopters flying around the stadium of just getting all the action shots of all these people flooding into the stadium. And I was like, do you know what's crazy about fame and about how we treat celebrities? We've all, however many people the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa can hold for that one night. And then she did 2 more nights. So, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people are flooding into the city to see one human.
One human.
And I was like, as I was sitting there drinking, and I was like, Taylor Swift is a human being who woke up this morning, had bad breath, had to pee really bad, maybe, pooped, had some breakfast.
Hope so.
And like knowing that like 60 to 65,000 people are coming to see you. Like that really just blew my mind for a second, that like we're all flooding here, not to see like a festival, like a Coachella, all these people all day for one person.
Yeah.
How insane is that? And the pressure that she must feel. But then at the same time, seeing her on stage, it's like literally this is her court. And we are just there watching her, do the concert in the living room for her parents,
It's like she's having a conversation with you, but the proverbial you. Because I've been to a couple of Taylor's. I did not get to go. I was sad about that. The better thing I should have done was try to get last minute tickets for the Thursday show, but that I didn't know about that. And then I could have done it for the Saturday show, but by then I was like, I think I've hung it up. Like I'm over it. And also the Saturday tickets never got below $1,000.
Oh.
So I was like, well, good thing I didn't. Anyway.
Nope.
I have seen her twice though. And it's like she's having a conversation with you, even though there are tens of thousands of people in the exact same place as you, but it's like she's talking to you. And it's like she's just having this conversation with herself almost. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like when we do radio, we're talking to you, but also we're talking like it's our own mind doing here's the back and forth that I think it's almost magical what she does, because it's so effortless, even though there's a lot of effort behind it.
Right.
That makes sense?
I mean, and even like there was one point where after the first couple songs, Taylor was like, I want to thank, my opening artist that came out, and she named them. And then we missed that part. But like when she said one artist, you could see people being like, wait, what? And Taylor had slipped up and said the wrong artist from a different city. And so then she came back and she was like, today's the 13th, 13th is my lucky number. And that's the amount of brain cells that I have. I want to thank Gail. It was Gail who was here. I love you, Gail. Gail, you were great.
And it
You
wasn't
were
even
wonderful.
Gail all 3 nights in Tampa. That's probably why it was confusing. It was somebody else.
But
the next
even
night.
then, I was like, the way that she corrected herself with the joke, like, as a radio person, I probably would have like fumbled over my words. I would have tried to, make a self-deprecating joke, but it really would not have landed. But like just the way that it was like she has writers and like they wrote out a like, here's a fun anecdote to tell, about how you messed up. And I'm just like the way she performs and even just speaks about things and the effortless way that she weaves in between songs with speeches. And I'm like, think about how I always try to start the Friday chant. And it's always some like awkward, like, all right, Miguel, you could have put at least 3 more seconds of thought into how you were going to do that.
Sometimes it's really hard to come up with it.
It is, but it's like the way she does it. It's so impressive to see. And then just to watch just the love and the compassion and I mean, you could tell everyone there is a Swiftie and that they were there for that reason. And it was just really cool to be a part of that and just to see it. And Homegirl was up there performing for 3 hours
Insane.
straight.
Yeah, 44 songs.
One of my first dates, I don't know if we were official yet with my now fiance Oscar, was a Taylor Swift concert.
Oh,
Her people were in town for her Reputation era, and they had given us like amazing floor seats. And I had committed to my coworker Kimmy to go with her. But of course, last minute, my APD at the time was like, hey, I can get you a pair of tickets. And I was like, okay, let me bring this new guy that I've been dating. And so I tell Kimmy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to actually go with this guy if that's cool. Fucking pissed. She was down the aisle and she would like look at me and be like, and I'd be like, oh, fuck. But
Oh, dear.
it was a really, really lovely experience. I am not the biggest Swiftie. But I did like her Reputation era. And that fucking concert, like just the production value. Like, yes, the songs, they hit you in your face and they're beautiful and it's super fun and colorful. But the fucking production of her shows, like that bitch puts money in that. And I really can appreciate, because I saw from different angles. I don't know how these bitches got money first and foremost, but I saw different angles of the concert, very up close for some. But some people that I followed too were in the nosebleeds. And there is a massive screen where you could really see her. And I can appreciate that, because take care of the people up there. They can't see you from so far. Like, at least give them that big screen. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and she acknowledges them, throughout the show, and you could just hear the excitement from the people, way up there. I was very lucky that my friends had bought like 6 tickets, and one person backed out. And so they were like, we know you're a Swiftie. Do you want to come? And I was like, absolutely. But the whole experience was just amazing. But I think I walked 5 miles. Like, by the time we got into the Uber, I was like, my feet hurt, my hips hurt, but I was trying not to complain with my friends as we were walking. And I was like, and they were like, oh my God, it was so great. I'm so in love. I have a glow. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Get me to the car. I want to go home.
My feet hurt.
That is the worst part of a concert.
It is. And like, there's no good way to get 60,000 people or however many people it is out of a venue. There's no smooth way to do it. You just have to have patience. But when you're walking like 1.5 miles to get to the car, I was like, girl, can somebody get one of them helicopters taking pictures to come swoop me up and take me away?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. But it was really cool. But then the rest of the time there, it was just catching up with people, old friends and whatnot. And I think that's one of the really interesting parts, because I went to a RuPaul's Drag Race finale party at a friend's house, and a lot of my friends, we were talking about how like once I moved away, Abe and I moved away, and this has happened in other places I've moved, or when I've moved away from somewhere, is that I'm the organizer. Like, I'm the person that always makes the plans, that makes sure that, hey, it's Friday night, let's bring everybody together. And like nobody took on that role. And so everyone was like, well, we kind of went our separate ways a little bit. Like, we still come together every now and then, but a lot of people have signed up for like softball or kickball or things like that for the different gay leagues that they have in the Tampa Bay area. And so when they had this finale party, there was like a whole new slew of gays that I didn't know. And so like the first 30 minutes, everyone was like, are you okay, Miguel? What's wrong? And I was just kind of like, I don't know these people.
You're like, who are these people?
And then these people have recently moved there, so they don't know who I am. I'm just the old friend that just popped up. And so it was like a little weird transition, like getting into it, because I'm like, I don't know my place anymore. Like, does anyone appreciate my funny asides when we're watching this? Or are they going to be like, shut up?
Who's your weird friend?
Like, shut up. And I was like, I'm gonna just warm up. I'll warm up a little bit. But it was a fun time. But it was a little weird
weird.
After we left their house and then we went out to the gay bar we go to, their cocktail. And like they were going to their different circles of people that they hang out with now. So there was a couple of times where I was just at the table by myself, and I was like, all right, well, I am like in between two different worlds right now, because sometimes I feel that way going out in Charlotte, with our new friends here, but they all have other friends. And so they'll talk to them. And so sometimes I'm just left there with my drink and being like, okay, this is fun. And so
That
I'm
is
like,
weird.
damn, not only is it back where I'm from, where I am now. So it was a lot of interesting emotions. But we were able to have a little like reunion pool party at our friend's house. And so that was really cool. I'm getting to see everyone. I got to go to Holly's house and
Yes.
hang out with Holly for a couple hours. So that was really fun.
Thank you. I was missing you very much. So
Yeah, it's if you are new to the podcast, one of our Charlotte fan members, Holly splits her time between here and Charlotte. And so because of a lot of unforeseen circumstances over the past couple of months with your mother, us moving buildings in both spaces, Holly hasn't been able to be here in a couple of months. And so that was the first time we've gotten to see each other in person in a minute. So that was really cool.
And we literally just talked your entire ear off. I mean, I don't even think y'all said anything. We were just like, blah, 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 and then, blah, 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 and then we're like, well, look at the time. We got to get ready to go.
Gotta go. No, it
We
was
don't
fun.
get out much. So it's just good to have some company, But
Yeah.
it was really, really great to see you. So I was very glad for that. And I'm looking forward to another, the visit again soon. So there's that.
Oh, wait, hold on.
but-
Holly, I'm going to start your...
You are roboing it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me restart you. I'm going to disconnect you. I'm going to connect you back. Holly?
Yes,
There we go. Okay, we got you back.
I've been back. That's all right. Do I need to do anything on my end?
No, you're good. You're
Okay.
good.
Sounds good now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There was something else. What time is it? I
Quarter
wanted
after 11.
to real quick touch on this. To sort of flesh it out here, then maybe we talk about it on the show. But when I was asking y'all about, what you wanted to talk about on the show this week from your personal lives, and producer Kelbin, you talked about something that your fiance experienced at work. Do you want to talk about it now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah.
like-
Go ahead.
He is a general manager at a retail store. And here in Charlotte, we knew what we were getting into in the sense of there's going to be a culture shock. We came from Miami, and so everybody's Hispanic. I have no idea. You always read the news and it's a minority attack or a hate crime, etc. with minorities. But for us, that word doesn't exist. Like minorities in South Florida is a white person.
Right. I was gonna say you are not the minority in Miami area. Like one time Miguel and I, we were talking about like doing radio in Miami. We're like, we can't. I'm too white. Miguel's black. We can't.
And then my name is Miguel, so then they would think I'm an
They would think that
imposter,
we're-
like
we're
I'm
tricking
Dominican.
them.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Get out of here, boy."
Yeah. So
And I realized that, Oscar looks, I don't know if looks, but he's got darker skin than me. And I had always worried about that moving here. And I discussed that with him before we moved. And I was like, hey, I just want to let you know my concerns. And he's like, I'm not scared. Like, I'm fine. And I'm like, all right, cool. Ended up being a situation a couple of days ago where a woman was complaining about a shirt that is past the return date, and the system won't allow her to get it returned, to get her money back, but she could get store credit. She was getting, a little frustrated, but pretty calm with one of his cashiers, who she just happens to be white. The woman wanted to speak to a manager, the general manager. And so he was there in the corner opening up boxes. And so he told me that he immediately felt like she had seen a ghost, or she had like been disgusted the minute that she looked and that it was him, when the cashier pointed towards him as, oh, that's the GM. He goes up to her, he tries to help her, and she just continued like spewing out some microaggressions. She was being very passive aggressive, was not taking no for an answer, saying that she wants to talk to corporate. And so when he came back home and he told me all this, I felt so lost because I had no idea how to console somebody who has gone through this, because we've never gone through this ourselves. And I felt really bad about it. I told him to obviously not listen or care about somebody who is so ignorant and miserable in their life.
yeah.
But that was all I could really muster up. I mean, I'm not really good at consoling in the first place. And he was fine that first conversation, but it wasn't until the woman did call court break. She was calling every single day, and of course gave a totally different kind of story. So Oscar's the general manager, and his boss above him wanted to hear his side of the story, and him reflecting on it and realizing what had actually happened and why it happened. Then it really hit him. And I felt, like I said, I felt really bad. I could not give him anything.
Yeah.
What sort of things was she saying? Did he do you remember specifically what comments that she made in trying to speak with him that first time?
I can't specifically remember, but it was definitely just passive aggressive stuff. Like she would take out her license, and then he was trying to read it or whatever, and then she would snatch it, and she'd be like, here. And so shit like that.
Right. That really sucks when things like that happen, and there's no easy way to console someone with it. It's one of those situations where it's you have to just let them live in that space, but also let them know that that's not everybody. Is that we have lots of people in any areas that don't respect other people's cultures, and don't respect other people's differences. And we're living in a time now where some people are celebrating the fact that they don't like other people from different cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a really scary, dangerous time when you don't know who's on your side
I know.
and where they're coming from. And so it can be really scary. But I think sort of when a disaster happens, and just sort of saying that, yes, that sucks, feel the grief that you had to go through that, but just know that that is not everybody. That is not reflective of most people that you will come into contact with. And then also too, and depending upon the person, because this is how I sort of get myself through those sort of situations, maybe her spouse died or her dog died, and so this is the moment that she's going to get out all of her frustrations, her sadness, and whatever she's feeling. Does not make it right, does not excuse it at all, but maybe for me, that helps me have a little compassion for that person, to be like, well, bitch, I don't know what the hell you going through right now, but clearly you are on one, and so I'm just gonna let the Lord hopefully take care of whatever it is that you're dealing with, and hopefully that you're not spewing that hate to other people and not dealing with whatever it is that you've been through.
Right.
I think that unfortunately that's most people though that are so outwardly aggressive, is that there is no self-awareness. They have no idea. They do have trauma to unpack.
Yeah.
Certainly. But they have no idea how to do it, and that it actually is them. They're the problem.
Yeah. I mean,
I wish more people could take accountability.
my initial reaction was obviously well, you better fucking clap back. You better fucking say something. Don't fucking deal with that. Because as an employee, I can say, I'm not helping you. You can go to somebody else or go to another store. But when you're the general manager, it's completely different.
You cannot do that. You do have the accountability.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of that's the job. That's part of your pay scale.
Right.
When they say it's above my pay scale, well, that's sort of part of that, where you have to take it. Now, obviously, if it gets to a point of abuse, then it's well, you can just leave the store, because we're not going to accept, name calling, or if you start calling, cussing at me. Nope, I'm not going to speak to you. I'm not going to deal with people. But unfortunately, the buck stops there, and he's the last line of defense. Doesn't make it right, because he's human, and that you can only take so much. But it sucks, because that's part of being on that pay scale, is you got to take the brunt of crazy people like that.
Right. Yeah.
How is he doing now?
I think he's doing better. I mean, thankfully he had therapy today. So I'm grateful that it kind of all came out at around this time.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's able to talk it out with his therapist. So I think he just got out recently. So let's call him live. I'm just kidding.
Let's do it.
Let's call therapy.
Let's do it. What did you talk about therapy? Did you talk about Kelbin?
Did you talk about what happened and racism?
No, I just want to know about what he said about you in therapy. That's what I want to know.
Bitch. Only good things. 5 stars.
All good things.
Well, make sure to listen to our other podcasts. Please give us a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. And you know what really helps? tell someone about the podcast. Be like, hey, have you heard of Miguel and Holly Uncensored and all the crazy, how we went from parenting issues to Taylor Swift to microaggressions?
Microaggressive, right?
Yeah.
We've covered the
Reverse.
gamut. We've
We're
done
all
it
reverse.
all. So tell somebody else. Let's bring more people into the Platypus Posse.
Yeah.
Producer Kelbin, how can people get in touch with you on social media?
You can follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at Kelbin Live. Click that blue button. And if you want to play with me, go to PlayStation and you can type in BSSY Killer.
Standing for
Bussy Killer.
Got it. Holly, what's your
Hey!
social media?
Radio Holly, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I have a Facebook. I don't do a whole lot with it, but it's there. And so you can find me all there.
I want to say thank you to Emma, who said ADD moment. This isn't related to anything you're talking about, but I got distracted by how much I like Miguel's shirt. Thank you.
That's
This
a good
is
shirt.
like one of the shirts I should retire because it's been about 3 years, I think. But
I feel like it's faded. Like,
It
I feel
is.
like it's not as bright as it used to be.
it used to be shimmery and
It would like
bright,
popped out. Like the colors would be like pop bam right
Fucking
in your face.
neon.
right?
Yes.
And now the shirt's
Now it's
like
just kind of muted. It's like we tried to party, but it got tired.
Right.
just like my soul right now. I am, by the
Oh.
way, I am so tired today. I'm like ready after everything because like I flew in from Tampa to Charlotte yesterday, and on the flight I was looking at my calendar and I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to host on stage at Charlotte Shout for the last day. So literally rolled in from my Uber, put my stuff down, changed my pants, and then walked down to Uptown to host on stage for an hour for Charlotte Shout.
Oh my God.
I am spent today.
Yep.
But you can follow me everywhere on social media at Miguel Fuller. Take a look at my Taylor Swift reel, my first like original one that I put together. I was very proud of it, so you can see it there.
It's good.
Thank you. All right, we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.